We are almost constantly bombarded with other people's thoughts, and if we're not careful, they can become our own. As we listen to others, we want to discern if what they're saying agrees with God or not. We don't live in a bubble, or at least we shouldn't. We need other perspectives, but we need to discern if those perspectives are true or what part of those perspectives are true. So, I'm McCove Johnson. I am the facilitator of this group, and I am moving my stuff around. Sorry. I am a Christian women's life coach focusing on helping women heal spiritually and emotionally so that they can raise their children to be the world changers that they know that they are. And we were talking this month of November about discerning thoughts, and been talking about thoughts come from all kinds of places. Thoughts from God, our own thoughts, and we're talking today about the thoughts that come from others. And um like thoughts coming from others, we're constantly bombarded, whether media, when you're on Facebook, you're hearing my thoughts right now. Um, if you have on the news or the radio or you're reading a book, you're constantly being bombarded by other people's thoughts. Are those thoughts in agreement with the Lord? Are they helping you be more like Jesus? Are they encouraging you? Are they lifting you up? And not that, like I said, we don't live in a bubble. We can't only have good, happy thoughts, and that's the only thing we look at, because there are true things that are hard and are not fun. But are those things being talked about in a way that uplifts God and His ways? Or are they being talked about from a different angle that just brings discouragement or strife or confusion? Because it's that thought and that spirit behind it that we're trying to discern. Is the issue being talked about in a way that brings healing, that brings reconciliation, or is it being talked about in a way that creates more strife and more drama? Um, and so that's from like obvious other people's thoughts that are coming at us as we're listening. Um, but again, if we're not aware of that process, we can just adopt, like, this is what I always listen to. And that can be in the music we listen to, that can be in, teaching you listen to online, teaching you listen to at church. Like I said, news, social media, it all needs to be discerned and brought through that filter of, is this helping me be more like Jesus or not? And then another way that we can think other people's thoughts is kind of more subconsciously picking them up. So an example, um, just yesterday, I was really struggling with the idea of asking for help. And um, that's unfortunately kind of normal for me. That's something God is delivering me from, removing that fear from my life. Um, but yesterday was like really super intense. I was struggling with this and feeling so unworthy, like so like, how dare you ask for help? How dare you ask for anything? I mean, it was intense. And um I was spending some time with the Lord while my little one was in a bubble bath, and was going through, and like that cruel accusing voice of like, how dare you, who do you think you are to ask for anything, came through. And while I didn't want to hear it, at the same time I was so thankful to have heard it, because we'll talk about this more next week, but we have an accuser. So that was an accusing statement. Who do you think you are? That wasn't my thought saying, who do I think I am? It was the accuser, and he was loud. He was feeling very bold. because he felt like he had me. I was struggling with this. And so I was thankful to hear, like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't all me. Like, this isn't my thought. And realizing that this past week I've connected a couple of times with a woman who is really hurting. She's in a really tough place and she feels really stuck. And because of a tremendous amount of trauma in her life, she also doesn't feel worthy of asking for help. And so realizing that, like, some of the unworthiness and stuff that I was struggling with was hers. I had picked it up from her, um, and hadn't been intentional enough about giving it back to the Lord. So when I did give it back to him, like I told him, like, how do I do this? Because obviously in my coaching, I deal with people who have some really hard things, and I am empathetic and I'm compassionate, and so is the Lord, to care about these things, but it's not mine to carry because I can't change it other than bringing them to the Lord and sharing compassion with them. So I was like, Lord, how do I clearly give this stuff back to you, um and not carry it with me? Like, I obviously have, been carrying it for a couple of days at least. Maybe had been carrying it since the first time I talked to her. And so he's like, just give it to me. Like, felt physically hold it up, and Lord, I'm giving you the trauma, the hurt, the confusion, whatever it is, all of this person's stuff, I'm giving it to you. And to ask him for what he had for me in exchange. And to do that each time after I have a conversation with somebody, whether it's coaching or just in life, where, like, I feel like, okay, they're frustrated or they're hurting or whatever it is, that you can be compassionate to that, but I don't need to carry it. And so I was able to say, okay, I give all of her stuff to you and her struggles and her feeling unworthy and just the trauma that she's been through. What do you have for me instead? And he said that, needed, that he had clarity and peace, for me. And so it was just so freeing to be able to, like, okay, I can discern that's not my thought. I don't need to keep it. I don't need to have the impact of what having those thoughts, how that's making me feel. Um, I don't have to do that. I don't have to participate in that. Yeah, hey Nathan, Brian Johnson. So that's the thoughts that I have to share about others' thoughts and how they can impact us and what we can do with that. I would love to hear if this is helpful, if this is new, if you've got questions, and just bless you to have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll see you back here next week.